Today we're gonna do the pilot episode for a new series on my YouTube channel where I talk about wrestling and everything wrestling related. At least for this week. This is October 2nd, Friday. So let's do this. This is the first episode. So quickly, let me get my thoughts on Monday Night Raw. What happened? What transpired? Not a huge fan of the Seth Rollins Kane thing. I mean, I love Kane. I've always loved Kane, but I just don't think he belongs, in that main title picture. I don't know. I like what they're doing with New Day, of course. New Day's hot as a blowtorch. Everybody is liking what's going on with New Day. I like the Paige heel turn. I like that Natalia's getting some screen time. I like, there's not much to like about wrestling at this time, but I like Kevin Owens as the Intercontinental Champion right now. WWE Network is putting out some great stuff. I just watched a Table with Three with Daniel Bryan, Dolph Ziggler, and Ryback, and great stories. And then there was one with New Day as well. Very, very, very great stories there. Yeah, so WWE this week in terms of wrestling hasn't been all that great. I thought the Kane versus Rollins was gonna, go around like Money in the Bank time, but now that's all the way here, I mean, it's whatever. Roman Reigns versus Bray Wyatt, they put on, for what it was pretty good match, not wrestling wise, the spots that they did, Bray Wyatt throwing a actual human being, his body at Roman Reigns was pretty creative. The whole spears to the announce table was awesome. So Raw, I mean, if I had to give it a rating out of 10, I'd give it like a 5.5. I wasn't that impressed with what happened. Smackdown was yesterday. Nothing huge happened. Kane was watching ringside, and then he got injured because Rollins, tweaked his leg or whatever. And then Demon Kane came out, and then chokeslam at the end. He chokeslammed the Dudleys and New Day, Tombstone, Xavier Woods. Like I said, I'm not a huge fan of this. It is what it is. I see they just want to develop the storyline to get Seth, continue his little reign. I don't know. I just don't know who Seth has left the feud with after this. Roman Reigns, of course. But we'll get to that. NXT was actually really good. Finn Balor and Samoa Joe, I love that team. I love the Muscle Buster to Coup de Grace tag team finish that they did on Enzo Amore and Colin Cassidy, by the way. They already need to be on Raw and SmackDown. Like, they're at that point, like a Sami Zayn, where they just been there the whole time. They need to go, Speaking of Sami Zayn, no, I'm getting a little off topic here from the NXT thing, but I think Sami Zayn will be back by WrestleMania and will face Kevin Owens for the Intercontinental title at WrestleMania 32. Just a little prediction. But anyways, back to NXT. The tag team matches, are pretty surprising. Johnny Gargano, I'm really glad to see that he stuck around another week. I don't know how long. They had an interview and whatever. Tommaso Ciampa, I don't think he's gonna stay in WWE. I know he was on this episode of NXT, but it's crazy. He was on NXT and TNA Impact the same. I don't think a lot of people noticed that. Tommaso Ciampa was in a triple threat match with DJ Z and Trevor Lee, which was pretty cool. I watched that match. I'm not a big fan of TNA, but I did watch that to see what Tommaso Ciampa was doing there. I don't know if that was taped or if he taped NXT before or what was the deal with that. But yeah. So NXT was pretty good. So I wanted to give quickly my MSG Madison Square Garden live event, which is tomorrow, live on the WWE Network. I want to give my predictions. So I'm gonna read off the match card and then predictions on who I think is gonna win. Each match. So let me start first with Rusev versus Dolph Ziggler. This is just a kind of like a pre-show not necessarily pre-show, I don't know why I said that, like a, undercard, kind of just to beef up the house. Remember, this is a house show. This is not like, oh, they're gonna do something different because no, it's a house show with just special attractions like Brock Lesnar, and it's from Madison Square Garden. So, Rusev versus Dolph Ziggler, I'm gonna give to Dolph. He won their feud. He's the face. Faces usually go over in house shows, at least some of the time, most of the time. Money in the Bank holder Sheamus versus Randy Orton. Randy Orton, I think, is gonna go over. Randy Orton, they never let the Money in the Bank holders look strong if they're holding it, like Seth Rollins. He lost all his matches when he was Money in the Bank holder. But next on the match card, Kevin Owens, the Intercontinental Champion. Glad to see him get some gold only a few months into his WWE run. A lot of people said, oh, after he lost to Cena, this is it for Kevin Owens. No, he's still, he's doing his best with what they're giving him. So I think Kevin Owens will beat Chris Jericho. I think Chris Jericho is going to get on, like, I don't know if he's going to start showing up to house shows and Raw, but I think what they should do is make him lose just like he did at Night of Champions, and make him, start doubting himself. That's why he, shoulder tackled or shoulder bumped, whatever you want to call it, Dean Ambrose. He's starting to doubt himself, so maybe that'll lead to a feud to WrestleMania, maybe with Ambrose or with Reigns, because they definitely teased that. So I could definitely see Jericho versus Ambrose, but I say Kevin Owens will definitely take that. The New Day defend their tag team titles against the Dudley Boys. A lot of people think that the Dudley Boys are going to go over in this match just for the fact that it's like an anniversary since their last win, or something like that, like 10 years, something to that effect, since they won their last tag titles, or since I'm not sure what the statistic is, but I think the New Day is going to retain. I don't think the Dudleys, I think they need to continue this chase until they finally, when they finally win, it'll feel like, wow, it took them, months or weeks, I mean, for what we've got so far, they deliver some pretty good matches. Bubba Ray can what's the word I'm looking for? He never fails to impress. That's the statement I was looking for. Bubba Ray, definitely give him a microphone. He can just go crazy. I'm loving what's going on with the New Day. The New Day is just, like a furnace, just hot right now. So, I don't think they should take the titles off New Day yet. I think maybe Survivor Series would be a good time, or around that. John Cena, Seth Rollins will be inside a steel cage for the United States Championship. There's no way Seth Rollins is going to win this match. I'm sorry. John Cena US Open Challenge is the best thing. But, once it starts getting back to the degree it was at before. Speaking of the Open Challenge, I forgot to mention this when I reviewed Raw at the beginning of this show. John Cena did the Open Challenge. It was answered by New Day. Everyone thought Big E was going to fight him, but it was actually Xavier Woods. Xavier Woods did put on, I knew Xavier Woods as Consequences Creed, I believe that was his name in TNA. So, and I know him. I watched him, the ESPN thing, and I'm a big fan of Xavier Woods. I think he's arguably, I'll say Kofi Kingston is the most talented out of all three of those guys. Big E, no disrespect to Big E. Big E is a huge guy, but I think Xavier Woods is up there. Like, all three men are very talented. They're very entertaining. They finally get to be themselves, I really think. And that's why this team is so good. But yeah. So yeah, Open Challenge, John Cena retained, of course. And I think John Cena will retain here too. Now, the main event, I don't think there's much discussion over who's going to win this. Brock Lesnar is going to take Big Show to Suplex City. He's going to just dominate him, and this time it's not going to be by a chair. At Royal Rumble, he dominated by a chair. That's because he was a heel. Heels do that kind of thing. He was trying to get the fans to hate him, which they didn't. And so he beat the streak that later on that year. But he's a face, so I think, yeah, you could say Big Show's a heel. He hasn't really done anything heelish besides knockout Cesaro, which that's just a whole nother topic for a whole nother day. Cesaro, I'm very disappointed what they're doing with him. Um, Brock Lesnar, Big Show. But yeah, Brock Lesnar, I say beats him. I don't even think it'll go longer than 6 minutes. I think Brock Lesnar gonna get in there, get the job done. Maybe do some high spots like a announce table bump or something, something of that effect. Something like that. I don't know. Brock Lesnar just needs to get a huge win before his next match, because he did sort of lose to Undertaker. Like, if you want to count it what the ref counted it, he lost. But when he faces Undertaker in Brocktober, yes, I like the name Brocktober better for his little October tour. And I think I got that. I listened to Saul Monster Sound Off, so heard that there. Or Bite That Cast, I'm not sure. One of those two of my favorite podcasts right there. But I think Brock Lesnar will beat the Undertaker to finish him off, because Brock Lesnar will get back the WWE Championship. I think he'll have a match with Sheamus down the line. I don't think it'll be at WrestleMania. I think it'll be before WrestleMania. But I think Brock as WWE Champion is the way to go. So he needs to be put over strong here. So that's my Madison Square Garden predictions. Now I'm gonna do quickly NXT Takeover Respect predictions. I might do another one next week because I'm not sure if they're gonna add any matches. They just say, oh, this match is announced, on WWE's YouTube channel or something crazy like that. So I'm just gonna quickly do predictions, and then I'll end out this first episode of Let's Talk Wrestling. Tyler Breeze versus Apollo Crews. Apollo Crews is gonna go over. Apollo Crews is, they're building him. I heard a lot of Shelton Benjamin, Bobby Lashley comparisons, and that's fair. I don't think you should compare him because of just the color of his skin. I think you should compare him because he has the athleticism of a Bobby Lashley and he has the athleticism of a Shelton Benjamin. But if that's the case, you can also compare him, to guys like Charlie Haas or guys that were also athletic like that. So I don't know. I mean, I can see the comparisons. I just don't think they should do that a lot. I don't think they should even say that on WWE television. They might get some bad credit for that. But I'm not sure how to pronounce Asuka or Asuka or whatever. The new Japanese sensation diva that William Regal put over strong when she got signed will face Dana Brooke. This Asuka girl or Asuka or whatever. She's winning. It's a debut match. It's not like she's gonna lose to Dana Brooke. Dana Brooke can't get over if it was on her, if her life depended on it. And I think just all the makeup she wears, and she's just not a believable character. I'm not a big fan of Dana Brooke. I'm pretty sure she's great in the ring, but I don't really pay attention to her matches, I guess you could say. I know it sounds kind of, whatever. Dusty Rhodes Tag Classic semifinal: Baron Corbin and Rhino versus Chad Gable and Jason Jordan. From the beginning I said Gable and Jordan were gonna win this, and I think I'm gonna stick with my gut here. Gable and Jordan will beat Corbin and Rhino. I think if they're gonna make Corbin and Rhino lose, they should have just let Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa beat them. But it's whatever. Dusty Rhodes Tag Classic semifinal. The other one, what I'm guessing is these two teams will just face off later on. Finn Balor and Samoa Joe versus Scott Dawson and Dash Wilder. Very surprised to see Scott Dawson and Dash Wilder beat, the Vaudevillains. You would think, they're doing something with this guy. Even Edge on the Stone Cold podcast put over Wilder and Dawson as a tag team that he likes to watch. So who knows? Maybe they're gonna get a push soon. But I think here, Finn Balor and Samoa Joe are gonna win. And then as for their match against Gable and Jordan, as my prediction goes, I think something's gonna happen to the extent of where Samoa Joe turns on Finn Balor, and that sets up a match at the next NXT Takeover: Balor versus heel Samoa Joe. at least to hold him off until Hideo Itami comes back, which we all know that's going to be a feud, Balor versus Itami, because, you know, he took his spot. You know, the storyline's built in, basically. But the main event. Wait, let me finish what I was saying. Gable and Jordan will beat Balor and Samoa Joe. Or, you know, maybe Gable and Jordan beat him clean, and after the match, Joe just beats up Finn Balor. I'm not sure. But I think Gable and Jordan need to get the big rub from this. I don't think a heel team should win the tournament, but these guys, I think, are the exception. Even I don't even know if you can count them as heels. They don't really do heelish things. They do face a lot of face tag teams, but I mean, you know, who doesn't? But yeah, Gable and Jordan are my pick to win the Tag Team Classic. The main event, an Iron Woman match, as Solid Monster calls it, the Iron Maiden match. 30 minutes. Now, I am ecstatic for this. I watched NXT Brooklyn with a friend of mine, and we were on our seat. And you know, the thing is, I want to address this. How they did the storytelling, Bayley versus Sasha Banks, how she was, you know, her arm or whatever, you know, she just came back from injury, so they're working on the arm. WWE was so impressed with that match that they tried to recreate it 2 times with the Charlotte versus Nikki Bella matches. 2 times they did the whole storytelling. Oh no, Charlotte's injured. Sell the leg. And it doesn't work. They're just trying to copy what NXT was doing, and that's just how I feel about that. I think WWE needs to do something else if they want to be original from that respect. But definitely I think Bayley's going over in this match. I think maybe there's 2 ways this could go. You can go the Shawn versus Brett way, where they don't get a pinfall and it has to go to overtime, or I think it'll come down to the wire. And this is my actual prediction for the last moments of the match. Kind of like what happened with Kurt Angle and Brock in their Iron Man match. I think Bayley will be up by 1 point, and Sasha will have her in the bank statement, and it'll be counting down from 10 to 0. You know, 3, 2. Oh, will Bayley tap? Bayley doesn't tap, or she taps when it hits 0, create some controversy. But then they relook it, and you know, Bayley's the winner. I don't think either of these girls are gonna win in convincing fashion. I think it's gonna come down to the wire, pretty close. But I do think Bayley wins. And I think it's gonna be a great match. And I think all the network stuff that they're doing, and the NXT, you know, it's just WWE's looking pretty good going into 2016 if they can not be stale. I think that's a big problem with WWE. They're always, I don't know. And plus with Monday Night Football, which I do actually watch sometimes more than Raw. They need to step up their game big time, especially going into the Royal Rumble season coming soon, Survivor Series. They need to think of some big matches. They need to go back to the drawing board, because Seth Rollins versus Kane is not a main event match, and you can ask anybody that, and they'll give you the same answer. But that's just my opinion, and of course, I'm always going to give my opinions on this new series on my YouTube channel. If you guys did enjoy this video, please give me some feedback. I will be trying to do like a mailbag sort, where you send me questions, comment on this YouTube video, send me them on Twitter, Instagram, whatever, and send me your questions, and I'll answer them on video and give you credit, shout you out basically. But anyways, that'll do it for the first episode of Let's Talk Wrestling. I'm not sure if this is gonna become a weekly thing, a daily thing. I'm just kind of testing the waters. I'm not sure if this is gonna be like an hour-long thing, a 30-minute thing. I'm kind of just winging it at the moment. I don't even know how long this is going right now because I'm streaming on Twitch. But anyways, thank you guys for watching. That's it for wrestling this week with the Gaming Prophet. Yeah, that's basically it. So, I'll see you guys next time.